Most of the things that happen at air traffic control are routine, and by routine I mean they're scheduled. The same airplane comes in roughly at the same time every day, but they practice for emergencies and contingencies like we do in the airlines. But this is an emergency I don't think anybody planned for. Let's watch.
Watch that, pass the 500. Falcon 2 radar contact South Cap Bridge. Traffic on a 4-mile final, correction, on a 5-mile final for ones with CRJ Center 1500.
Okay, so the first two players in this scenario, and by the way, this involves a helicopter and a regional jet at DCA. All right, sound familiar? So that's a hot topic there, and everybody's on their A game when it comes to helicopters and RJs at DCA. There's a regional jet that's on final approach coming up the Potomac. There is a police helicopter that's in pursuit of a suspect, and this is something that just pops up instantaneously, and this air traffic controller's got to handle this thing, and he does an excellent job with it. Watch what he does.
We're looking for the RJ.
Okay, Falcon 2 is the name of the helicopter. He's looking for the regional jet. He's been told he's at the Wilson Bridge. He's at about 1,500 feet or 1,300 feet, something like that. So this helicopter pilot is not only looking for the bad guy on the ground that they're trying to track down, he's also keeping track of airplanes coming into DCA and talking to his dispatcher and talking to the tower at DCA. Unbelievable.
Talking to that RJ now is approaching the Wilson Bridge at 1,300 and descending. After you that, we have the RJ. We'll maintain the descent.
Okay, remember visual separation back in January? Well, this helicopter is assuming visual separation. This is daytime, which is a whole lot better. He actually has the RJ in sight, and he's going to keep himself away from that RJ, but he's still got to do his job. So there was a long period of time that took place. We've kind of condensed it for you because this actually took on for like short of an hour.
Falcon 2 tower. I think that's it. Yeah, Falcon 2, I need you to start heading eastbound for Zone 3 right now. You're not in Zone 3. You're just over Poland. Zone 3 is about another quarter mile to east of you. Thank you, Roger. So we're trying to get down. Again, I don't know what you want me to call it, but just towards the National Harbor here.
Okay, so what the helicopter, Falcon 2, is trying to explain to the tower at DCA is this. He thinks he's in Zone 3, and Zone 3 is one of the areas around. You can see some maps show you where Zone 3 is. I would know where they are as a pilot coming in, and so would that helicopter pilot. And so he originally thought he was going to be in Zone 3, but this is, for him, it's a fluid situation. They're following a bad guy, and you're not going to believe what the crime is here. It's unbelievable. And so the whole thing kind of elevates here in a minute, no pun intended. But he's not in Zone 3. They thought he was supposed to be. He's actually tracking this guy, but this air traffic controller works with him, right? They want to help the police get the job done. At the same time, they got to have airplanes coming into DCA. He's going to hold up everybody coming into DCA and put him in holding so this cop can fly his helicopter and follow this bad guy.
Talking to, that's a completely different request. You said Zone 3. I'm going to have some aircraft go misapproach on a final. How long are you going to be in the National Harbor? This is a kidnapping. I'm not sure how long.
A kidnapping? Did I just hear kidnapping? Yes, this is not a hijacking. This is not an engine failure. This is not a bird strike. It's none of the ordinary things that an air traffic controller would train for or a pilot would train for. He said kidnapping. So they're following a kidnapping suspect on foot. We're going to find out here in a minute. They don't know exactly where he is, but again, the cop that's flying this airplane, he's listening to his dispatcher, which is giving him instructions. They're trying to track this guy. At the same time, they've kind of congested the very narrow approach into DCA. Everybody's got to come up the Potomac River. So this air traffic controller, being flexible, has said, okay, I'm going to send some guys around missed approach. So here comes the RJ, here comes, Southwest, here comes the next airline coming in. They're going to go off. They're going to get some holding. Now, as a pilot, the next thing I'm concerned about is how much fuel do I have and how long is this thing going to take to unfold before I can go back and I can land. We always carry reserve fuel for contingencies like this. I don't know if anybody would script this one out for sure, but if you got a delay, weather, kidnapping, whatever it is, you've got extra fuel for that. So all these airplanes now are going to go into holding. This air traffic controller is going to continue to work with the police to hopefully find the bad guy. What's the deal with the kidnapping? Let's see.
All right, Falcon 2, understand you're active. We'll go ahead and coordinate with Mount Vernon. And you're going to continue on your present position heading eastbound now, or are you going to continue southbound? Where exactly you need to go?
I need to get back over to the west here.
Falcon 2 needs to go ahead heading west. Okay, copy.
Okay, so the air traffic controller is trying to script out exactly where the helicopter thinks he needs to go. He thinks he needs to go west, which is actually probably good news for the arrivals into DCA. That's going to give the air traffic controllers a little idea of how long this might last. But it's a very fluid situation.
In fact, we're on station.
Falcon 2, say again, sir. We just coordinated. You guys can continue on course. Let me know when you guys are on station.
Thank you, Roger. We're on station, sir.
Okay, so on station, what does that mean? We've gotten to where we think we need to go. When I was flying for the military, we would be on station when we finally got to our operating area. And we would have, it was always kind of classified where our operating area was going to be. For me, flying P3s, we were tracking submarines, and that's a fluid situation, no pun intended. But the submarines are moving, and so 3 hours ago, the submarine was here, now it's here, 6 hours later, it's down here. And so that operating area being on station is constantly moving. This is similar, but different. There is a kidnapping suspect that's on foot that is moving. They don't know exactly where he is, but they're getting details from people on the ground. They think they've got a station or an area, operating area. He says we're on station. So hopefully he's going to stay there for a little while. Maybe they can start to get the arrivals back into DCA, but it's still, no pun intended again, the whole thing's up in the air, right? It gets better.
I just understand you're on station now.
That's fine.
So let me know when you guys are done with whatever you guys got going on, and we can continue with the inbounds.
Why is that?
Okay, now you can see the inbounds coming in one after another, right? They're kind of peeling them off here, right? They're going to go to holding.
Falcon 2, you got traffic at the Wilson Bridge, E-170. He's climbing northwestbound out of 1,000 feet now.
Okay, this helicopter is like right in the center of the path for everybody coming in on a northerly landing pattern into DCA. So he's peeled off, I don't know, 4 or 5 airplanes now. They're all going to go get stacked up and holding. Quite an episode here.
Falcon 2, Roger that. We have midnight. We'll make it this time.
Falcon 2, this separation approved.
Okay, keeping everybody separated and safe. That's good.
About how much longer do you think you'll need at your present position?
Okay, that's a great question. I knew that was coming. How much longer do you think this whole thing is going to take? And again, when you ask a question like that, like sometimes I'll ask that question of an air traffic controller, how long do you think the delay is going to be? I'm not really expecting a concrete answer. It's almost like when I ask, maintenance guys, how long do you think it's going to take to fix the airplane? It's almost like talking to your dad when you're on a trip. There's a standard answer, 15 minutes. And, from experience, it's probably going to be longer than that, but he's going to ask the question anyway.
Falcon 2, yeah, I'm not sure, how much time it's going to need. This is a kid that was kidnapped, a 7-year-old.
Oh, a 7-year-old was kidnapped. Now, I don't know the circumstances behind the kidnapping and whether this was resolved or not, but a 7-year-old, that's a big deal. It's a little child. And so everybody's taking this real seriously.
Falcon 2, I understand. Just let us know whenever you guys got to move if you guys are able to move eastbound. We'll stop all the arrivals till you guys get your mission done. We understand the importance of this. I appreciate you coordinating with us.
Okay, so they've stopped all arrivals into DCA. That's no small thing. That's a huge deal. They can only do that for so long, right? Until they have to start sending all those airplanes someplace else to their alternate fields. They can do that if this needs to go any further. But right now, that helicopter is right in the path of the oncoming flights.
Roger, thank you.
Southwest 3820, are we pretty much heading back in, or is it going to be a little bit longer for fuel constant?
Okay, here come the questions now. Southwest is the first one to ask, how much longer is this going to take? We're kind of taking a look at our fuel. Now, what I'm doing in the cockpit at this point, let's say I'm one of the airplanes that's been sent into holding. I'm looking at my reserve fuel that I've got left. I'm looking at how long I can hold. And I've got actually in the computer, it says on my hold screen, I've got a button that I can hit that says literally hold on it. And it gives me all the information about holding. It tells me how much fuel I've got, how long in hours and minutes I can hold. And sometimes I'll look at that and it'll say you can hold for an hour and 15 minutes. I might not want to hold exactly that long. I might want to like curtail that a little bit. So I've got a little extra fuel depending on the weather at my alternates. But now if I've got an hour that I can sit and kind of burn holes in the sky waiting for DCA to open up, I'm not just twiddling my thumbs up there. I'm looking at weather in my alternate. I'm talking to my dispatcher. I'm saying, where do you want this airplane if we have to go someplace else? Because not every airport's the same. And dispatch might want it at an airport where there's maintenance for my airplane, you know, all those things, right? So all those factors, we're very, very busy when you go into a hold like this. But at some point, I'm going to try to gather more information in this fluid situation from air traffic control. This guy asked how much longer?
Conservation. Talking to any estimates yet?
I have to give you a repeat, I'm sorry.
Talking to any estimates on how long you're going to need to be there?
That's going to be at least 10 more minutes.
Okay, so at least 10 more minutes. He leaves it open-ended. Could be longer than that. Not really sure. If I'm listening to that, I'm Southwest listening to that, I'm thinking, 10 minutes, let's make that 20 or more. If I've got 40 minutes of fuel, like, okay, we'll see. Let me start the clock. After the end of the 10 minutes, I'll maybe ask for another update. Maybe I'll go 20, ask for another update. But at some point, I'm going to have to go, we're out of here. And it never gets to that. You're going to see that Falcon here is going to be able to adjust. And I think that's based on the intel on the ground of where the bad guy is.
Talking to copy. Can you head to the east about a quarter of a mile or so? Yeah, actually about a half mile.
Half mile, up. That's look for that. The guys are on foot.
You can do a quarter mile to the east?
Yeah, I'll work it.
Okay, so Falcon's working with him. The police are working with him. They're going, yeah, you know what? I'm right here looking for this guy, but if I went a quarter mile this way, I still got a good vantage point. And if that gets me out of your way so you can bring your arrivals back in, yeah, I think we can work that out. So this is not something that they train for. They train for emergencies that pop up. I guarantee you, air traffic control never had an emergency where a police helicopter popped up and they're after a kidnapping suspect right in final approach at DCA. But you know what? These guys and gals are so well trained that they can handle a situation like this in the middle of a routine day.
Are you honest? Like I just sat down a little bit ago. You guys are have the target in sight on foot?
Negative. We're looking for one, but there's witnesses that are saying that they saw him here. That's why we're kind of hopping around.
Okay, so the air traffic controller gives you some insight as to what they do. He said, I just sat down here a little while ago. So many times they're doing a shift change. Sometimes they'll work 2 hours or 4 hours, but they'll shift out, and the new controller coming in will get a debrief from the old controller. So let's say this guy just was in the middle of a shift change, and the old controller said, okay, here's what's going on. We got a helicopter. We're diverting everybody. They're all in holding over here. I'm talking to him, blah, 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 blah. And he's just now getting the situation. So he's now got to get up to speed. He reaches out to Falcon, says, just sat down, tell me what's going on. Do you have this guy in sight? Is this thing coming to a conclusion? You know, what do you think? And he says, yeah, they're working on it, basically.
I'll give you guys a little bit better description on the phone.
Good.
I'm not sure what that means.
Where you are right now is good.
Roger that.
I'm not sure what he means when he said on the phone. Maybe somebody on the ground can call ATC and talk to him and give him a description. This helicopter pilot is clearly very, very busy, and his attention is like in 2 or 3 or 4 different directions. Great job.
I can work with that.
Okay.
Go further to the west of where you are. That'd be great.
Roger that.
Okay, so they've worked out where this guy can go. They can start the arrivals back into DCA, which is good news. He's going to disseminate that information.
Like I said, you're good where you are. No further to the west than that. If you need to go further west, give me a heads up, and I can work it out for you, but I'll just have to get some of these fixed wings out of here again.
Roger that. I understand.
Okay, so he's given him the details now. The air traffic controller is telling the helicopter pilot what his dilemma is. If you stay right where you are, that's good. If you want to come further towards us anymore, I'm going to have to send these guys back around and into holding. But as long as you stay where you are or further east, we're all good. And the helicopter pilot goes, yep, I got that. I think we can stay here. I can accommodate you. You can accommodate me. That's great. Meanwhile, we're still looking for the bad guy. So arrivals then resume back into DCA at this point, and there was no interrupted arrivals after that. The helicopter did stay there. If anybody knows in the comments, I've been looking on the news reports about what happened. Did they resolve this? Did they find the kidnapped kid or not? I can't find anything. So if you could find something, let me know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you about what happened on the ground, because I'm, inquiring minds want to know. But all I know is that, when you watch breaking news on the television and there's a cop chase, and there's a helicopter following some guy down the highway, I've always wondered, I wonder how much that disrupts aviation above, right? Because there's stuff going on above the ground as well. Well, now you got a first-hand look at what this looks like. Now, this wasn't a car chase. It was much slower than that, but it's certainly very serious. So this wasn't a hijacking. It wasn't a bird strike. It wasn't an engine failure. It wasn't a fire. It was a kidnapping, of all things. And we hope that this got resolved and the kid got restored to his family and it had a good outcome. But at least from an aviation point of view, there were no further disruptions into DCA, and thankfully no near mid-airs into DCA involving a regional jet and a helicopter. Great resolution to this. Awesome job by air traffic control and the helicopter pilot. These are true professionals. Now you know. I'm Captain Steeve. Fly safe. So as a reminder, we're still in the middle of our Make-A-Wish donation campaign. We're going to run that all the way through the end of the month of September. So if you can, click the link in the screen below and make a generous donation if you can to a great, great organization. That's Make-A-Wish.